247 days. That's how long I waited under this cold concrete bridge, counting every car that passed, hoping one would stop for me. I'm lucky, and this is the story of how a 10-year-old girl taught me that miracles do exist, even when you've given up believing in them. But I'm getting ahead of myself. Let me start from the beginning, when I learned that love isn't what they write about in greeting cards. It's what they hide in the fine print that only humans can read. The day they left me. How I became nobody's dog. My name used to be Max. I used to be someone's good boy. But on the day those car doors slammed shut and the engine roared to life, without me inside, I became nobody's anything. 247 days ago, the Hendersons left me tied to the Highway 101 overpass in Millfield, Oregon, with nothing but a bowl of water and a note that said, "Free to good home." 3 years of being their family dog meant nothing when life got complicated. For 3 years, I had been part of their suburban rhythm. Morning walks, weekend barbecues, Christmas mornings with torn wrapping paper scattered across the living room floor. Sarah used to brush my golden coat every evening, telling me about her day. Mark threw tennis balls until his shoulder ached. Tommy and Jake curled up against me during thunderstorms. I thought I understood my role in their pack. I was wrong. If this story is already hitting you in the feels, just wait. It gets so much worse before it gets better. Make sure you're subscribed, because what happens next will change everything you think you know about love. 247 days of survival. Learning to be invisible. Under that concrete overpass, I learned that even love can be temporary in the human world. My golden coat lost its shine. My ribs began to show. My tail forgot how to wag. My territory became limited to the few places that offered scraps of comfort. Murphy's Diner, where I learned the garbage pickup schedule by heart. Rosie's Corner Store, where the afternoon sun sometimes broke through the clouds and warmed the concrete just enough. And the bridge underpass itself, my shelter from Oregon's relentless rain. Days were measured by small survivals. Finding food, staying dry, avoiding the animal control truck that circled through town twice a week. But something unexpected happened in this solitude. I became an observer of human nature in ways I never was when I was part of a family. From this invisible position, I learned to read the subtle signs of loneliness, hope, and love that humans think they're hiding. I trained myself not to hope, not to respond when children called, not to believe in second chances. Then came day 248. The voice that changed everything. Enter Emma. "Mama, look, there's a doggy." I trained myself not to respond to children's voices anymore. Too many times, curiosity had led to disappointment when parents pulled their children away with warnings about dirty strays and diseases. But something in this voice was different. From my shelter under Rosie's narrow awning, I watched a little girl with blonde pigtails in a red raincoat that made her look like a small, bright flame against the gray October afternoon. "He's shivering, Mama. And look how thin he is." In that moment, I saw something I hadn't seen directed at me in 247 days. Not pity, not fear, not disgust, but genuine concern. As if she saw not just a stray dog, but a soul that mattered. Emma. Her name was Emma, and she was about to teach me that miracles can happen twice. The first miracle. When kindness has no conditions. What happened next defied everything I'd learned about human nature during my months of invisibility. Emma dug through their grocery bags and pulled out half a peanut butter sandwich wrapped in school napkins. Then, with the unself-conscious generosity that only children possess, she shrugged out of a small blanket and set both items down just within my reach. There you go, puppy. I wish I could do more. No sudden movements. No looking around to make sure no one was judging her kindness. Just pure, uncomplicated compassion offered freely to a creature she'd never seen before. As they walked away, I heard her say, "He looked so lonely, Mama, like he's been waiting for someone to see him." She was right. I had been waiting for 247 days for someone to see me. I stared at that sandwich and blanket for 10 minutes before I had the courage to approach them. When I finally tasted food given freely rather than scavenged from garbage, something inside me that had calcified over months of rejection began to soften. Could miracles happen twice? I was about to find out. Our daily ritual. How Emma taught me to trust again. The next day, I found myself back at that same spot, wondering if miracles could happen twice. They could. Emma returned with dog treats and fresh water in a plastic bowl. She didn't try to touch me, seemed to understand that trust had to be earned slowly, respectfully. Instead, she sat cross-legged just outside my reach and began to talk. "My name's Emma. I don't know what your name is, but I'm going to call you Buddy, if that's okay." This became our routine. Every day after school, Emma would appear with something for me. Sometimes food, sometimes just her presence and stories about her day, her nervousness about moving to a new town, her dreams of becoming a veterinarian. Trust didn't come all at once. It built slowly, like layers of warmth against the cold concrete. On the first day, I stopped tensing when I heard her familiar footsteps approaching. By the end of the first week, something had shifted inside me. I found myself staying visible instead of shrinking deeper into the shadows when she arrived. 2 weeks in, the most miraculous thing happened. I actually wagged my tail when I saw her red raincoat coming down the street. And then, on day 21, she did something that changed everything between us. She extended her hand, palm down, and simply waited. There was no force in the gesture, no demand, just an invitation for me to choose. And for the first time in months, I chose to trust again. "Good boy, Buddy. You're such a good boy." For 3 beautiful weeks, this was enough. More than enough. Emma had given me back something I thought I'd lost forever. The belief that I mattered to someone. I should have known it was too good to last. How are you feeling right now? Type invested. If you're completely hooked on this story, and if you haven't subscribed yet, what are you waiting for? This is about to get intense. The impossible choice. When love means letting go. The conversation I overheard on that Friday evening didn't just break my heart. It shattered something fundamental inside Emma too. The new apartment doesn't allow pets, Em. And even if it did, we're barely making rent as it is. "I'm so sorry, baby." I watched Emma's face crumble, watched her small hands clench into fists as she fought against a reality too cruel for a 10-year-old to understand. But what happened next taught me that some souls are born with a capacity for love that defies logic. "Then I'm not going either." The determination in Emma's voice was unmistakable. "No, Mama, you don't understand. Buddy trusts me. He was hurt before, and someone threw him away. And now he trusts me. If I leave him too..." Her voice broke completely. "I can't be another person who breaks a promise to him." This is the moment that changed everything. This is when a 10-year-old girl showed the world what real love looks like. The night that changed everything. Love's ultimate test. That weekend became a countdown to devastation. Emma spent every possible moment with me, and I could feel her desperation in every touch, every whispered word. On Sunday night, she didn't go home. She curled up beside me under that concrete overhang, shivering in the October cold, her small body pressed against mine. "I won't leave you alone again," she whispered, tears soaking into my fur. "Everyone else gave up on you, but I won't. I promise I won't." I've never experienced anything more heartbreaking than a child sacrificing everything for love, or more beautiful than discovering someone believes you're worth that sacrifice. When her mother found us at dawn, Emma was running a fever, her lips blue from the cold. But she refused to let go of me. "Emma, look at yourself. You're sick. You could have. Then we'll both be sick together," Emma said through chattering teeth. "At least he won't be alone." The phone calls that saved us all. When love gets creative. I watched Emma's mother's face in that moment. Really watched it. I saw the exact second when everything she thought she knew about love and responsibility crumbled. The silence stretched between them like a bridge neither knew how to cross. Then Emma's mother knelt down beside us, her own tears falling now. "I can't let you do this to yourself, baby. But I can't. I can't watch you break your heart either." That's when she made the phone calls that changed everything. First, she called her boss, her voice shaking as she asked for overtime hours she'd never wanted to work. Then came the second call, to a different apartment complex across town, one that might, just might, allow pets. The third call was to a veterinarian, asking about payment plans with the desperation of a mother who would move mountains for her child's heart. I lay there, this broken dog who'd given up on miracles, watching a mother choose her daughter's heart over her own fear. "We'll figure it out," she finally said, gathering both Emma and me into her arms. "Somehow, we'll make it work. We're a family now, all three of us. Yes, if you just cheered out loud, smash that like button. This is why we never give up on love. This is why Emma's story is going viral across the internet. But wait, there's still more. My new name, my new life, the miracle of being chosen. That's how I learned my real name. Not Max, with all its complicated history. Not Buddy, sweet as it was. You're lucky, Emma said as we drove to our new home together, her small hand resting gently on my head. Because you found us. And we're lucky too, because you taught us that love doesn't abandon the things that matter most. I don't live under a bridge anymore. I live in a small apartment where there's always room for me on the couch, where my name is spoken with affection, where I've learned that family isn't about who you start with. It's about who chooses to stay. Emma calls me her miracle dog, but she's wrong about that. She's the miracle. The 10-year-old girl who looked at a broken, abandoned creature and saw something worth any sacrifice. To anyone who's ever felt invisible or forgotten, hold on. Your Emma might be learning to be brave enough to love you right now. To anyone who's ever been someone's Emma, thank you. You're proof that love always finds a way. Real love doesn't abandon you when things get difficult. Real love gets creative. Real love finds a way. Thank you for witnessing Lucky's 247-day journey from abandonment to love. Remember, you matter, you're worthy of love, and your story isn't over yet. Join the 4Paws family. Subscribe to 4Paws Tales for more stories that remind us love always finds a way. Share your story in the comments. Have you ever been someone's Emma, or has someone been yours?